and welcome to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. My name is Bella, and as always, I'm coming to you from Northern California in the US. I am a knitter and knitwear designer and lover of all things fiber arts, sewing and spinning, and now crochet, all good things like that. And this is a podcast where I like to share with you what I'm making. So most of the time that is knitting, sometimes also some sewing or spinning handspun yarn. And then also crochet now. I have now gotten into crochet. So it's been a while since we last spoke here on the podcast. Life has been crazy and busy. I was down in LA for 2 weeks, and every other time I just haven't had time to record a podcast, but I have been working on stuff. So today I have 2 finished sweaters to share with you, a finished sewing project, and some crochet. I have gotten into crochet recently, and also some spinning. Lots of things to go over today, so let's just get straight into things. So first things first, I guess we'll talk about what I'm wearing. I have finally finished the Unbearable Sweater for my partner, which I am wearing right now. I have finally finished this sweater. Oh my gosh, this took quite a while. This was quite a long process and project. It has 2 different colorways of handspun yarn used in it, and it's a big colorwork motif, and there's also a hood in the back, so it took me a little while to finish, but I'm so happy to finally have it finished. Actually, this past weekend was my partner's birthday, and I didn't quite have this finished before his birthday, but now it is, and it's okay because he had other gifts as well. But now it's finally finished for him, and I'm so excited that it's done and he can finally wear it, and we're both so happy with how it turned out. So it is just so cozy and warm. So what I've done since we last spoke here on the podcast, since what I shared with you last time, I finished knitting the whole body section here, and it's quite roomy and big on me, but if it's my partner, it fits him really, really well. And then I also did the sleeves with some decreases, so it's nice and hugging and cozy. It's very, very warm and nice to wear. And then I also knit the hood, which I will put on to show you right now. So here is what the hood looks like, and again, this was one of my handspun yarns. So the green, this is a green, kind of a browny green. So this yarn, and then also the beige here, both of these were handspun yarns that I did, and I'm really happy with how the hood came out. Hopefully you can see the fabric texture there. I really love how the hood came out. But yeah, I'm just so happy with how the fabric came out on the hood. I think it turned out really beautiful, so hopefully you can see kind of the fabric there. And I will also take this off in a second so you can see more of the details. But yeah, just some little edging. This pattern was really pretty simple to execute if you've ever done color work before. It's just the yoke and then stockinette in the round for the rest of it, and I really love doing stockinette in the round. I find it really relaxing and simple and easy. So overall it was very, very fun, a very fun knit, and relatively quick if you don't include the yoke, because colorwork yokes always take forever, at least for me. But once you get done with the colorwork portion, then the hood went very quickly, and the sleeves and the body and everything went really quickly other than that, and it was pretty simple to execute. So yeah, I'm so happy it's finally finished for him and he can wear it, and we're both so happy with how it came out. And one of the kind of major adjustments that we made to this pattern was that my partner Austin, he really wanted below the bears, he really wanted these little leaf motifs. So the original pattern was actually little flowers, but we kind of wanted to make it look more foresty, and especially with the color choices that we did, kind of wanted it to look more forest-like. So I just pulled together a little colorwork chart for these little tree leaf sort of motifs here at the bottom. And yeah, just so happy. We're both so happy with how it came out. So let me get this off so I can show you more of the details. Okay, so first I just want to show you the fabric of this hood. I am totally in love with these colors. I'm hoping you can see, I'm hoping the colors will come up well. But yeah, I'm just really happy with how this fabric came out. This was, again, one of my Handspun yarns, and I wish I had gotten more of this fiber because it is totally gorgeous. In person, it's like a grayish green and very natural looking, very like foresty in the perfect way. This is an Acre fiber that I spun up, as well as the beige. This was also an Acre fiber. Only got 200 grams of it though, so I have a little bit left of both of these colors, but not too much, not anything that I could do more than just color work for some other project, but that's okay. But yes, I did have to make an adjustment to the hood. I think my Handspun ended up more like a worsted weight yarn instead of a DK weight, and this pattern called for a DK weight yarn. So I think it actually, for the hood, it actually kind of skewed the gauge quite a bit. So I was getting a lot taller of a hood faster than I should have. So I wasn't actually able to finish the full like pattern of the hood, and I kind of just finished it earlier than I necessarily should have. Yeah, so that was just a minor little adjustment, and I think that's kind of caused this little point here at the top. But we both like it. We think it's cute either way. But yeah, it was just kind of a little adjustment that I had to make. Otherwise, the hood would have been super, super big. Much too big. And I think another thing that I've learned after using this Handspun to knit with, it came out very dense, I'm finding. I think I spun this particular colorway. I think I spun it kind of incorrectly. It was a it was a carded fiber, but all the fibers were kind of running in different directions. If you're a spinner, you'll probably know what I mean, that it was not all the fibers were all smooth and running in the same direction, and I was spinning it like it was, so I was taking all the air out of it, and it was becoming, I think it just became way too dense. So kind of something I've learned from this project. Not necessarily something I would want to do again in the future, but I did actually kind of not do that on the beige. I did, through this process, I was learning as I went, and yeah, I still think the yarns came out very beautifully. Definitely nothing wrong with them, and they were balanced enough that I think, they've turned out well in the sweater. But yeah, just kind of a learning process. So if you're a spinner or you're looking to get into spinning, I would definitely recommend, I would think of knitting with your Handspun as part of the learning process of learning to spin, because it's kind of hard to tell exactly how well you've done, or how balanced your yarn is, or what the density is like, and if it's how you kind of want it. It's kind of hard to tell that until you've actually started knitting with it. So this has been blocked now, and it is ready for my partner to wear, and I would definitely recommend this pattern to everyone and anyone who would want to knit it, even if you haven't done color work before. There are a few points where you have to wrap your yarns, kind of the points where, like in between the bears, where this kind of lighter color has to go across a lot of stitches. You have to wrap your yarns in those places, but I would say the color work chart overall is pretty simple to follow, and I think it just looks so cute. Just the outcome is just so adorable. Unbearable Sweater. So that's the Unbearable Sweater by Les Garçons, and I will link this as well down below. Yeah, and I think that's all I'll say on this one. And then the sweater, we'll talk about what else I'm wearing. The sweater that I'm wearing underneath that, this is my Shifty sweater, a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I really love this sweater. It is definitely something that I wear more like a t-shirt, so it's really good for this weather as we're kind of getting into summer and things are warming up a little bit. I used a superwash yarn, and I also made it 3/4 length sleeve, and it is also cropped. So it's actually not the warmest sweater that I own, but it's very comfortable. So it's better for, at least for me, when the weather is kind of warming up. Yeah, and I use Spin Cycle yarns on this one as well. I don't know if I said that, but yeah, really love this pattern. And let's see, I guess we'll talk about the other finished object, the other finished sweater. So this, we haven't talked in like a month, right? So this sweater was actually done quite a while ago, quite a few weeks ago. I had finished this sweater for my mom for Mother's Day. So I'm not sure if I can show it to you very well just holding it up because it's very drapey and kind of floppy. I will probably also insert a picture so you can maybe see what it really looks like better. But this is a sweater that I was knitting for my mom for quite a few months, and we had kind of gone back and forth about the design. So this pattern, the base pattern that I used for really, at this point, really just the shoulder construction, this was the April cardigan by Petite Knit, and I was knitting that sweater and I thought that my mom wanted it to be exactly like the original. I thought, you know, kind of a simple, elegant, like very easy to chuck on any day kind of cardigan. But then she wanted kind of some changes. I had knit the bottom ribbing. I had knit like the whole body, and then I had knit the bottom ribbing, and she just wanted something a little bit different. Didn't want the ribbing and wanted some little like color work, kind of little color pops. So we talked about a design and came up with this kind of alternative. So I will just show you the bottom hem that runs all the way along the bottom of the cardigan. I just made a little color work motif for there. So it's just some little Latvian braids and simple color work. So that runs all the way around the bottom hem and kind of all the hems and edgings. So I also did that for all of the sleeves. Hopefully you can see there. And this sweater is so soft. And then I also did the same motif along the neck bands. So hopefully you can see that there as well. We do not yet have buttons for this. So I'd gone to LA, and I was in LA for Mother's Day, and I was going to give this to her. I actually did give it to her, and she was using it and loving it and wearing it throughout the week. But then we were planning on going to get some buttons for it because I wanted her to pick out the buttons. I wanted to make sure that she loved them exactly the way that she wanted them. And in Los Angeles, there's a really great like fabrics and notions store that I always used to love to go to when I lived in LA. It's called International Silks and Woolens. That's just my personal favorite. I haven't been to all of them by any means, but that's just the one that I would always go to if I needed those sorts of things. And they have an entire wall of buttons. They have probably the largest selection of buttons in person that I've ever seen. Maybe in New York you could find more, but anywho, I wanted us to go there and like find some buttons for her to pick out for this sweater, but they were closed on the weekend. And that was the only day we were available, and I didn't realize that until it was already too late. So anyway, so she sent me home, sent me back up north with the sweater. So we're kind of looking online now to figure out what kind of buttons she wants. And then I will put them on there for her and then send this off to her. So then she can finally keep it and wear it. So many things this sweater has gone through. But yes, it is so soft, and I'm really happy she really loves it, and it fits her really well. I will also insert some pictures that we took on Mother's Day when we were together in Los Angeles, so you can kind of see how it's wearing. But yeah, this fabric is so soft. I might want to get some more of this yarn to knit something with this yarn combo. This is both of the colorways are La Bien-Aimée yarn, and I just want to show you up close how this fabric turned out. It looks like watercolor. I just love the little specks of color all throughout. So this yarn combo is a Merino Singles from La Bien-Aimée in the Anemone colorway, I believe it's called, kind of a lilac purplish, and then it is held with one strand of their Surrey alpaca base. I think it's their Kumo base, and I'm not remembering the name of that colorway, but it really looked like a water lily watercolor painting. So yeah, those 2 yarns together. Oh wow, so soft. So I think I will definitely want to make something with those yarns together for myself as well. But yeah, so finally this sweater is done as well. It's been really fun to be finishing off a lot of things recently, and I'm really happy that my mom loves that sweater. Okay, let's see what else. Let's get into sewing real quick, why not? Let's talk about the finished sewing project. And I should have steamed this before I brought it out. Sorry I didn't. I've been wearing this already a ton because, like I said, some of these things have been finished for almost a month now since I've been able to talk with you. So let me just put the buttons on. So I finally finished my Estuary Skirt by Sew Liberated. The pattern is by Sew Liberated, and I am just so happy with it. I've been wearing it a ton. It is my new favorite piece of clothing. So yes, this is the Estuary Skirt. It's got some really cute buttons all the way down the center front, and I will also, since I'm not wearing this right now, I will also insert either some video or photos of me wearing this so you can see better. But it's just a really cute little simple everyday sort of check-on skirt. It's a little bit past, where it hits on me is a little bit past my knee, so it can kind of go with cooler weather or warmer weather. Actually, I wore it recently to Point Reyes, which is near us, and it was very cold there, so I was just wearing some leggings under it. I have some kind of fuzzy leggings, and it was perfectly warm with just that. So yeah, really love this skirt already. And it's been holding up well so far, which is great. So yeah, just some little kind of gathers at the top edge. And I did make some adjustments to my version of this skirt. So in the pattern, the original pattern is supposed to have a bit of elastic waistband here in the back. Kind of the center back is supposed to be an elasticated waistband. I decided not to do that since I really wanted my waistband to be flat all the way around. When I'm actually wearing it, I would prefer it to be flat all the way. So I just omitted those instructions, and I just measured my waist and cut the piece of fabric to just be exactly my waist measurement. And then I also just eased in the gathers all the way around. So I think actually what I ended up doing was maybe simpler, fewer steps than the pattern. So yeah, and there is some interfacing in the waistband as well, so it's nice and sturdy. And another adjustment that I made was that I wanted to do French seams on all of the seams, all the interior seams. I didn't want to have anything sort of scratching me. I know, I don't know. Serged edges don't really get scratchy, I know, but I wanted everything to be very enclosed and tidy so that hopefully this would be able to last for longer. I don't really know if serged edges are any weaker, probably not, but I just wanted really nice edgings that were soft. This fabric is really soft, and I just felt like kind of doing a French seam on all the edges. So yeah, I did some French seams, so on all the side seams, and then there's also pockets, which are so much fun to have in a skirt. So yeah, just French seams everywhere. And I also did a hidden seam. I'm not remembering what it's called, but it's basically an invisible seam for the waistband so that there is no visible seam on the exterior or the interior. Hopefully you can see that. So I just did a little catch stitch seam. There's plenty of YouTube tutorials on here. If you're curious, I will also link one down below if you would like to see what I'm talking about, but it's just a hand sewn seam so that you don't have any visible stitches anywhere. That was just another little tweak that I wanted to make. So had so much fun with this. This was my first ever fully hand sewn project, piece of clothing. Well, not project, but piece of clothing. I've started making a coat that I was working on years ago, and I've still never finished it because there's some problems that I run into with it, but this I actually finished, and I'm really happy to have it done, and it didn't need to take me as long as it did. There were definitely some points of it that I was just scared to do, so I was kind of putting it off, like the button band and the buttons. I had never done buttons before, and I was really scared that I would mess up the buttonholes and all that, so yeah, it didn't need to take me as long as it did, but now that I've done it, I'm not scared of it anymore, and I can do it for future projects. So if you have anything that you're working on that you're kind of scared to do the next step, or maybe it's a little intimidating, just go for it, you know, do as much research as you want to beforehand, YouTube tutorials, whatever it may be, and then just go for it. Have confidence and just go for it. It's only fabric, or it's only yarn, right? Yeah, so one last thing I wanted to note, because I have been getting some messages from you all asking me what this fabric is and what the buttons are and so forth. So the fabric that I used is a Merchant & Mills fabric, and it is a tencel fabric. So it kind of behaves and looks like linen, except it's much more drapey and much more soft, but it does kind of get wrinkly quickly, which I'm trying to figure out how to work with. But it's a really nice fabric other than that, and I've really enjoyed working with it and wearing it. Again, it's really warm when it needs to be and breathable when it needs to be. Oecotex certified, so yeah, just a really great fabric. I've loved it so far. I don't believe they have it on the Merchant & Mills website anymore. I wasn't able to find it, but I was able to find it just by Googling. So if you Google Merchant & Mills tencel fabric, then you should be able to find it there. They have a few different colorways, I believe, from other websites. That's what I'm saying. Because Merchant & Mills does wholesale. So if you would want to find this fabric, it'll probably be available from some other online store selling the Merchant & Mills fabric, as well as the buttons. The buttons were also from Merchant & Mills, and these I do think are still on their website, so I will be linking everything down below if you would like to see. So I highly recommend this sewing pattern if you sew at all. Yeah, had a lot of fun with it, and I think it's going to be a great staple in my wardrobe. I've already gotten so much use out of it, so really highly recommend that one. And let's see, I guess we will talk about another work in progress, or the first work in progress of the day. So this sweater I've gotten some progress on. So this is my Primaveral sweater design, a sweater design that I am working on, and just a really sweet little overall cable knit sweater. So you can kind of see here, the cables are still kind of squished because I haven't blocked this or anything yet. So just after knitting them, they're still kind of tense, but once I block this, they will definitely soften up and relax. But I have gotten the entire body done, so all the way along there, and now I am working on one of the sleeves. So again, the sleeve is also very tense and squished together right now, but it's going to be a little bit oversized all the way down, and very cozy and comfortable is kind of the idea. So still working on that one, and I was trying this on and it's fitting exactly how I was imagining and hoping it would fit, so having so much fun with this one. This one I will be getting to you all as a test knit soon. I'm hoping to have it ready to be test knit within a week or two. I still need to finish up grading, but once that's finished, then I will make my test knit call. And I always do my test knits through my newsletter, so if you would like to sign up to be a test knit for this sweater, then please sign up for my newsletter. That is as well linked below this video. Yeah, and then I will send that test knit out to you all so that you can apply if you would like to. For this particular sample, I am using Nutiden yarn held double in 2 different colorways. So what am I using? I'm using Langtan and Piquant. No, that just came out. Another light purpley sort of, a light pink sort of color. So this fabric is kind of two different very light pinks held together. So it overall makes kind of a worsted weight yarn, which is also a reason why I'm not kind of trying to finish this project as quickly as I can, because I'm really thinking people won't be needing to knit it. At least for people in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm not thinking that we need a worsted weight sweater soon. I'm thinking it'll be quite a few months before people are thinking about knitting a worsted weight sweater, so that's kind of why I'm not super rushing on finishing up this project. But I will have it ready for test knit soon, and if you would like, again, if you would like to be part of the test knit, then sign up for my newsletter and you can apply through there. Okay, let's see, another work in progress, another design that I'm working on, kind of in an earlier stage of the process. I am working on a colorwork yoke sweater. This is going to be the Moreau Sweater, and let's see, which way is the front? This is the front. So I have it on my kind of extra, what is this called? I have it on my needle holder for now, so I could stretch it out and kind of show you what the colorwork motif is looking like. But here it is so far. So there's some high contrast, some low contrast, and I've just gotten a little bit more done on this one. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it's coming out. I think it's going to be really interesting to look at. I'm using 3 colorways. So the main colorway is this one here. This is by Miss Babs, and it is their antique brass colorway in their 2-ply fingering weight yarn. I think it's called the Twisty 2-ply or something like that. And then I'm using also 2 colorways of Spin Cycle yarns. So these are just so beautiful, I think. I just love these colorways. This one is Pick Your Poison, and I'm not exactly remembering. I think this one Bruised Deco, perhaps? Not exactly remembering the purpley colorway name, but just really beautiful dyed-in-the-wool skeins. And I had this idea for these color combos for years. I had picked up this yarn in Virginia quite a few years ago, and I just had to use them all together in something. So just having a lot of fun with the color work right now. And there's a bit more to go, and then I will be splitting for the sleeves and going forth with the rest of it. But yeah, that's kind of how it's looking so far. And I do really use this needle holder. I'm totally forgetting what it's actually called. But kind of this stretchy, like silicone strand that you can like move all of your live stitches onto. I've been using it a ton for all of my knitting projects whenever I need to try something on that's like a much bigger circumference than my knitting needles actually are. You just slip it onto the end of your knitting needle, and then you can slip all of your stitches, all of your live stitches onto it, and it makes it really easy to switch back and forth between like knitting and trying it on. So you don't have to manually slip all your stitches. It's much quicker. You can just slide them all. So I really highly recommend one of these thingies if you don't have one already. I will link the one that I have down below, but there's tons of different kinds out there. Would definitely recommend it for anyone, designers or not, just anyone who would ever want to try on their knitting like midway through knitting just to see how it's looking. So yeah, let's see what else. I guess next we will get into some of the hand-dyed yarn that I've been working on. So if you follow me on Instagram, you may have heard or may have seen that I am planning my first hand-dyed yarn shop update. So I have been dyeing up some yarn, and I'm really excited to share with you. These are just some of the colorways that I have so far, and there will be more coming for the shop update as well. But I am just so excited with how these ones are looking. So I will go over what I'm holding for now. So first we will talk about these 2 colorways. These are both on the same base. This is my Organic Merino Sport Weight base. Just a really squishy yarn, really cozy and soft. I actually used this exact colorway and also this exact base on one of my Wayworth cowls. I will insert a picture of it here. I don't have it with me because I gifted it to a friend, but this was the same colorway and yarn that I used for that. And it's really bouncy and has nice memory and kind of squishy coziness factor to it. I really enjoy this base. So this particular colorway, this is just a really lovely light beige, kind of light sand kind of a colorway, really soft and beautiful. And then this one is just a lovely rust. I think this one is so cool. Just a super pretty rusty color. And next we will go into my alpaca silk base. So these are the two colorways for that base. And this one you can see is just super drapey, this base. Like I said, this one less drapey, still really cozy. This one would be better for maybe like a sweater or a hat, or if you want like a really comfy squidgy shawl. But these ones would definitely be more shawl, or maybe even some socks if you want some really cozy soft socks. This is such a soft base. So this is my alpaca silk base. It's 80% alpaca and 20% silk. Really, really soft and very drapey. So first, this colorway is just a lovely light stone. I think this would be so beautiful to kind of hold with another color, maybe like a Surrey or a mohair, and just kind of get that depth of color with the gray. So really soft and malleable with that one. And then this colorway is totally a true robin's egg blue. I was so excited when I saw it dry and saw the true color come, because right after you dye it, it's quite a bit deeper than what it's actually going to look like in the end. So this one, I just totally love how it came out. And this one has also some lovely little light variegation. Hopefully the camera's picking up the variegation to it, but it's just a true robin's egg blue. Really love how that one came out. Just really sweet. It would be great for a little bit of color work, or maybe some socks, or a shawl again because it's so drapey. And then this one I dyed up as a special request. Some of you were requesting that I dye this one up again. This is the exact base and colorway that I used for my champagne tank design. I will insert a photo right here if you don't know what I'm talking about. But yes, I had designed that tank top with this exact yarn, my naturally dyed hand-dyed yarn. So I had some people reaching out wanting to purchase some more of that base and that colorway to either knit that project or maybe something else. But anyway, so this colorway was a special request. So this one is a linen, alpaca, and silk base. So it's 50% alpaca, 25% silk, and 25% linen. So it's really, really breathable. And I've been wearing, now that the weather's kind of warming up, I've been wearing my my version of the champagne tank, and again it's with this base, and it feels like a second skin. It is so breathable and light and drapey and comfortable. It's truly like a really great match for something. If you want to have the drape, it is there. It is so drapey. It drapes just like it's just like silk, like so lovely. So really love that base, and it's just a tiny little blush pink, just the lightest little blush of a pink to the color. Yeah, so I really, really love that one. So those colorways will be available in my Etsy shop coming soon. I will have that exact date announced on my Instagram page. Still have a couple of colorways coming, so you will see more in the future. Yeah, so let's see what's next. I have so many things around me. I'm trying to figure out what I haven't talked about yet. I guess let's get into crochet, shall we? I have gotten hooked on crochet. Bad pun. Bad pun alert. So yes, crochet. I have tried crochet before. I tried it, I think, way back in high school, but I didn't ever really get into it. I don't know. I think it just didn't grab me like knitting did. But recently I saw on Caroline's Instagram page, Caroline of Nutiden Yarn, she is one of the makers, kind of the main maker behind Nutiden Yarn, on Acre. So she had posted a project that she's been working on, a crochet project she's been working on, and it's a sweater by Wool and Honey? No. What is their name? I'm totally blanking on the name right now. I think it's Wool and something. Anyway, I'm blanking on the name right now, but I will have it linked down below. They created a really beautiful crochet sweater pattern that kind of matches with a knit version that they created, but they also created a crochet version. And Caroline was crocheting this, and I just saw it and I fell in love with the texture and the colors and everything. It was like, I've never seen crochet this beautiful. So I was like, wow, I have to try it now. It's like, is this gonna convert me? I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, just really was blown away by the texture that this created, and I figured I can't do that with knitting, so I might as well try crochet. But I didn't want to make a whole sweater. I wanted to use the same technique, the same kind of texture, whatever the stitch was that was creating that texture, but turn it into a pillow cover, a pillowcase pillow cover for one of our pillows. So that is what I have started. And of course I'm using Nutiden yarn. Okay, so this is what it is looking like for now. So it is fading yarn, and look at that texture. Like, what? So, so pretty. So I'm hoping the colors are coming up well on the camera. But I am using two different colorways of Nutiden. And it is not held together. It is one strand at a time. It's kind of like stranded colorwork for knitting. That's how I'm holding my yarns. I'm holding it the same way as I would if I were knitting stranded colorwork, but obviously you're crocheting, so it's very different. And I've like totally gotten obsessed with this. It's really fun. The only thing that I'm kind of seeing that I don't like about crochet is that you have to keep picking up the stitches. Like, every time you have to go make a stitch, you have to stick into the previous row of stitches, and I just find that kind of annoying. And it's like, I don't know, I'm just so used to knitting. All the stitches are just there and they're easily slidable and you can go really quickly. And it's probably because I've never done this before that it's going very slowly for me, like really slowly, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, so I would say that's a win. Yeah, if you have never tried crochet, I would highly recommend this. It is a really simple technique. So if you just download the crochet pattern for the sweater and just use the pattern, or like use the stitch to make the texture, but just make something else, or make the sweater, whatever you want to do. Anyway, I'm rambling. The two colorways that I'm using is Lucra, which is a really deep, beautiful foresty green color of Nutiden, and then I'm using, for the fading yarn, I'm using Virvan, which is the same one, the same colorway that Caroline used in her version of this sweater. So yeah, like I said, I'm making a pillowcase, so I'm working in the round, and all I did was crochet chain for the bottom edge, kind of the bottom seam. I just did one crochet chain in Lucra, and then I just picked up along that edge on both sides to do the working in the round to do the texture. So I think it turned out well. I just kind of made it up as I went along, and I just measured the pillow that I'm going to be putting this over to make sure it'll fit within there, but I'm just totally loving with how it's coming, and the fading is just so nice. Isn't that beautiful? I love this yarn. So having a lot of fun with that one. If you have this colorway in your stash and you didn't know what to do with it, maybe try this. Yeah, having a lot of fun with that. And I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. So yeah, just a really simple, fun little thing that I've had going. And okay, now let's talk about spinning. So I am also working on some spinning, some hand spun yarn. I started spinning for a shifty sweater for a friend. I think I talked about this quite a few episodes ago, but I'm going to be making an entirely hand spun shifty sweater. So this sweater, but entirely hand spun. It's going to take a little while. So I'm going to be spinning up 6 different colorways. So I have all the fiber already with me now. I had planned it out with a friend. I think it was last year that we planned it, and ordered all the fiber, and now I'm actually working on spinning them up. So we're going to have 3 base colorways and then 3 kind of contrast colorways. So if you've ever knit the shifty sweater, there's kind of like a base color, which is like what this collar is, and kind of the gray background throughout. That's like the base color that you use, and then there's contrasting colors on top of that. So basically we're going to have 3 of each, so 6 total. And I have finished the first colorway. I am so happy with how this came out. Oh my gosh. I'm really, really enjoying handspun yarn, spinning yarn. It is such a lovely learning process, and it's so relaxing and just meditative. For anyone who hasn't tried hand spinning, for anyone who hasn't tried handspun yarn, creating handspun yarn, I would highly recommend it. It's just, if you think knitting is relaxing and wonderful, try handspun. Try spinning some yarn. So this is some fiber, and I also made myself some tags so I can keep track of everything, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have quite a bit of extra of all of these colors by the end, even after I'm done knitting the sweater. So I've made some tags so I can keep track of what I did and when I made it, and so on and so forth. So this fiber was Malabrigo Nube in the color Boreal, and I spun it to be a worsted spun 2-ply yarn, and I also measured the yardage finally. So this guy here, this skein, is 103 grams and it is 330 yards. And yeah, I also have a little mini skein as well, because I had some singles that wouldn't fit on my first bobbin when I was spinning this one. Some of them didn't fit, so I made a little mini skein. So this one is 20 grams and it is 75 yards. So overall, I think I have about a DK sport weight yarn, but I think it's also a little bit dense. But anywho, I totally love how this came out. The colors are just breathtaking. These are like totally gorgeous in my opinion. They're really like, what is the word? Just striking in my opinion. Just like so many colors, but they work so well together. I don't know. Malabrigo Nube, whatever they're doing to dye their fiber, they're doing something right. Well, with one caveat. So the outcome I'm totally in love with. And this is actually, I think, one of the most balanced yarns I've made, if not the most balanced yarns. You can see it's not like twirling on itself at all, which I'm very proud of, because everything else that I've made thus far has. All of them have been a little bit twisty and not quite balanced. So I'm really happy about that, and it just feels really soft and relaxed. So I'm happy about my twist on this one, but I am not super happy about the consistency. It's not bad at all, but I could have made it a little more consistent. I think the reasoning behind that though was I was having a little bit of trouble drafting. So the thing about Malabrigo Nube, everyone says this, the thing about Malabrigo Nube fiber is that it comes to you very, very compacted, and a little bit felted sometimes, a little bit felted together. So if you're just trying to draft straight out when you first open it up, it's kind of impossible. It's really difficult. You're gonna hurt your hands, at least I did. So I would definitely recommend pre-drafting it at least a little bit. I generally pre-draft my fiber sideways, so you know, you have your long combed top, and instead of drafting long ways, because in this case I couldn't, it was too stuck together, it was too difficult for me to do that. So I pre-draft it horizontally sideways, and that seems to open it up a little bit, might help a little bit. But then I also saw something recently, someone had talked about steaming the fiber before you even start spinning with it. So I haven't tried that because I found that out after I had already spun this, but I'm gonna try that for my future Malabrigo Nube adventures. I have some more Malabrigo Nube in my stash that I'll be spinning at some point. So I'll try that in the future. So basically what that means is like either using your steam iron and kind of going over the whole fiber, blasting it with steam, or you could use like a teapot and just where the steam is coming out, just kind of run the fiber along that. And that seems to help open it up a little bit. But again, I haven't tried that, just a little recommendation. It could work, but yeah, oh my gosh. Yes, the colors are just so much fun. I almost don't want to knit with it because it's just so cool, all these colors going on. Yeah, again, Malabrigo Nube, they dye their fiber with like a bazillion different colors, so in the end, when you actually spin it up, it's got so much like variation and depth to it. So really happy with how this one came out, and I have already started spinning up some other ones. So this is the second colorway. I don't really have numbers here. This one that I just showed you, the Boreal, that one is actually going to be the number 2 contrast, so it'll probably end up around here. And then this one that I have finished the singles for, this is going to be the last contrast color, so it'll be like kind of down at the bottom. So this is how the singles turned out on this fiber. And in contrast to the Malabrigo Nube, this fiber was super, super nice to spin. So this fiber came from Neighborhood Fiber Co. Let's see, it is their Polworth base, so 100% Polworth wool, and it is just so soft and nicely combed, and it is not super bunched at all. There were a couple places where it was sticking together a little bit, but no, overall it was really lovely to draft and to spin. So again, I did a worsted spun 2-ply, or I'm going to be doing 2-ply, but I did a worsted spun for the singles. Yeah, it was really lovely. So it came out pretty consistent. I'm happy with the consistency on these ones. So yeah, I will be applying these very soon. They are resting right now, and then I think in a day or two I'll start applying them. So I'm just having so much fun with Handspun, and this project is going to be so much fun. I've already started actually on the singles for one of the other colorways, so I love Handspun. It's so much fun! Definitely try it if you haven't already. And let's see, is that everything? No, that is not everything. Okay, I actually have one other finished object to share with you. I know, so many things, right? Let's see if I can get it under all these things. Okay, so I also decided to make some placemats, or a placemat. I'm going to be knitting some placemats. So we've been at our new place here for quite a few months already, and I was finally like, you know what, we need some placemats. We have a really lovely wood table that we always eat at, and when our friends come over and, you know, we're all eating around the table, and I just want to help keep it nice long term, so I figured we should have some placemats because we don't have any currently, and I figured why not make them. So I just made a little placemat pattern for myself. I wanted them to be circular and round, so I used, I'm not remembering what exactly the increase technique is called, but yeah, I'm not remembering exactly what it's called. Circular, or I don't know. I will link it down below, or I will link the name of it down below, or put it here what I'm talking about. but it's basically like a mathematical equation of like the rate at which you should increase. So I just knit this in the round and did some little textures. So really love how that came out. It did come out a little bit bowed, so you can see it's not laying completely flat. It seems like maybe the inside was too tight and then the outside there's too many stitches. I'm not sure exactly what happened here. I might try to re-block it to try to even it out. But once it's on the table, it's not bad. It does its job, right? It's a placemat. Was really easy to execute and didn't take very long at all. And yeah, there's some just nice little textures throughout it. And I love the little, I put some little eyelets in there. So yeah, loved that one. And I will be making 3 others. Haven't started on them quite yet, but yeah, there's going to be 3 more of this. And I used, for the yarn, I used Manchalope, Wool Dreamers Manchalope yarn. So that's the Wool Dreamers Unspun yarn. And I used one of their gray colors. I think it's the light gray, perhaps, is the one that I used. But yeah, I really love Wool Dreamers yarn. It's a really lovely base, really lovely wool. So Wool Dreamers, the cool thing about Wool Dreamers is it comes, their plates come already pre-wound as 2 strands together, and that's just how I knit this. So I knit this with 2 strands of Manchalope. Just made things a lot easier and quicker, and I really love how it came out. I think the color is really beautiful and it's gonna get a lot of use, a lot of wear around here. So yes, is that it now? I think so. I think that's everything I have to share with you today. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks again for watching. Thanks for being here. And last thing, I want to say thank you so much. I just noticed we passed 20,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here and supporting this journey and being a part of this community. It's just really fun to interact with you all and learn from you and share, and it's just been such a fun journey. Yeah, I love doing this. So thanks for being here, and I will talk to you next time. I'm planning on a little giveaway. I know I'm late with this, but I am planning on a little giveaway to say thank you. So yeah, keep an eye out for the shop update, the yarn shop update coming soon. You can follow me on Instagram or sign up for my newsletter for more updates on that and test knits and all of those good things. And thanks again for watching, and have a lovely rest of your week. Happy knitting, happy making, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.